Alright, fellas, welcome back to Friday where we talk about random nonsense that has nothing to do with the rest of the channel. We're talking about magic again, in case you couldn't guess that. We're going to be looking at the competitive scene, aka where everyone thinks they're Megamind, and they expect themselves to have an IQ of like 195 at least, some Isaac Newton level stuff, when in reality, all you need to play competitive is being able to read. That's it. It's full stop. You just need to be able to read, but I mean, again, by magic standards, that might as well make you the next Stephen Hawking. So I don't know. I guess you do have to be Megamind in order to play Magic the Gathering. I don't know. The joke sort of writes itself. Um, but regardless of who has the higher IQ or who can read a card more or who has the sufficient eyesight in order to see a card's text, uh, the real competitive winners here are Wizards of the Coast because they will be making so much money off of any poor sap who tries to get into Magic the Gathering competitive. It's brutal. Like any given competitive viable card is worth at least a set booster. It's it's ridiculous. But that's that's sort of just how it works at that point. Um and while every competitive player sort of follows that line, there are multiple different kinds of competitive players and multiple different play styles. So we're going to get into them, starting with the gimmicky players. Gimmicky players like to think of themselves as combo players when no, just no. Um, because usually it's a combo, but it's really just a one trick pony. So you'll have, a funny card that wins you the game, right? Or it does a really cool technical thing, and you'll think, oh, this is fine. It's just one card. It's a good engine or it's a good outcome, but it can't really do anything, too game breaking, right? Oh, never mind. It wins the game off rip just because you have another card that synergizes perfectly with it. I mean, I understand given that Magic's like really old now. So, of course, there's going to be cards that are printed at some point that synergize with each other super, super well. But, like, come on. I mean, I get why this is competitive, but at the same time, still, it's hardcore. Um, and I do have respect for it. Just brutal, brutal stuff. Totally gimmicky, by the way. Um, but that's fine. It's arguably the most honorable thing here, aside from creatures. But next we have the control players. Now the control players, I dislike them for completely objective reasons, otherwise known as they involve blue. um, but also because they give the table more collective anxiety than a World War II veteran. But that is okay because again, it's competitive Magic, so like no one cares, right? But the funny thing about a control player is that their commander won't actually look like a control card off rip. It'll say some weird shit. Like it'll be like this guy, right? Who, you know, this looks like a damage commander. Like it deals with drawing cards and it deals with damage, right? So you think, oh, okay, this is just like it's just a random commander that'll do damage off of you drawing cards. So it wants you to cast spells, right? Um, until you realize it's blue and red, which are the which are the screw you colors. So this turns into, oh, I now have 50 counter spells in my deck, which all activate this guy's funny ability for drawing a card, which activates his other funny ability to doing damage. So really, while it looks initially like it's just gonna ping you for damage until you die, that is true until you realize that it's gonna ping you to death while also stopping you from playing the game. And this gets even better when you realize, oh, there are cards that will work with this strategy to just one shot you if they screw with you enough. Honestly, it's super scummy and it's shameless as hell, but I honestly love the idea. I'm probably gonna try it at some point. And now we have the honorable shit. This is where you get my support because now we're looking at the creatures in competitive, which is beautiful. I love this. Now, the creatures in competitive, we like big things and we like wide things. So for the wide things, we're gonna have stuff like Winota, so that you can just play your entire deck like it's Uno, and then you have also Tam for wide, which is again playing your entire deck. And then for tall, we have Selvala and Kodama, which is, I mean, well, it's green, so that's sort of self-explanatory. But again, this is super honorable. Nothing wrong with this. And you'll notice why it's super honorable. There's a very common denominator among all these cards, and that is the lack of blue among it. So again, perfectly fine. Everything's cool here. Oh wait, never mind. Okay, well, you know what? I'll leave this as an exception, just because I really like creatures in competitive. So like, Kinnan, I'll let Kinnan off the hook for this one, even though I don't respect the blue, but that's okay. And now, finally, we have the artifact players. Now, the artifact players are really funny because they can take this in one of two ways. They can either go lots of artifacts and control, or win the game. But there's one common thing between them, is that they have infinite artifacts at their disposal, and they will use that to make your life as miserable as humanly possible, which again is sort of like the real primary objective of competitive. But it's honestly just really funny to see someone say, oh, I'm running an Urza competitive deck, and then you think, oh, it's like 4 mana, right? So not a problem until like at least turn 2, right? And then turn 1, they just off rip, unload half their library onto the field, and just, oh, I win the game now. So honestly, mad respect for people who actually sell their soul to Wizards to put together a full, real Urza competitive deck. The dedication's crazy. I respect it. And then yeah, Brea sort of exists, which is cool. No green though. Like all the colors except green, shameful. But anyway, yeah, that's competitive. Um, this is my favorite phrase. It really just it's essentially like my alarm in the morning. It gives me PTSD. Anyway, yeah. Uh, that's everything. See ya.